Dr. Adrian Vale had been preparing for this day his entire career. Cameras crowded the auditorium, journalists whispered like a hive of caffeinated bees, and the world waited for him to unveil what he called the greatest leap in human biology. He stood at the podium in his pristine white lab coat, looking every bit the eccentric genius hair slightly wild, eyes gleaming with anticipation and a confidence that teetered between brilliance and madness. Behind him glowed the holographic title, Project Eve, Rewriting Life Itself. The serum he developed could, in theory, reconfigure human DNA at will, flipping biological sex without surgery, hormones, or side effects. It was supposed to change the world, not him, but fate had other plans. Adrian cleared his throat, smiling as he addressed the buzzing crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice full of pride, "you are witnessing the dawn of a new era." Applause echoed. He gestured to the vial of shimmering blue liquid on the podium. "This compound is the future of identity, medicine, and evolution itself." He was supposed to just hold it up for dramatic effect, not actually use it. Unfortunately, his sense of showmanship had always been stronger than his common sense. To demonstrate its safety, he announced confidently, "I will now inject a microdose." His assistant backstage turned pale and mouthed something that looked suspiciously like NO, but Adrian, squinting through the bright stage lights, misread it as encouragement. "Thank you," he said cheerfully and pressed the syringe into his arm. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the air shimmered around him, and the world collectively forgot how to breathe. His skin flushed, his body tensed, and then, as if someone had flipped a cosmic switch, everything began to change. His hair cascaded down in glossy brunette waves. His lab coat tightened alarmingly across his chest. His pants suddenly refused to cooperate. His voice cracked, softened, and then came out like honey dipped in static. The transformation was instantaneous, dazzling, and absolutely horrifying to everyone except the cameramen, who were getting the scoop of a lifetime. When the shimmering stopped, the man the world knew as Dr. Adrian Vale was gone. In his place stood a gorgeous brunette woman with wide hazel eyes and a lab coat that seemed to have lost a size and a half in the process. The silence was deafening. Someone in the front row dropped their phone. Someone else whispered, "Is this part of it?" The new Dr. Vale blinked, stared down at her dramatically altered body, and uttered the only logical words possible in that moment, "Oh crap." The auditorium exploded in chaos. Journalists screamed questions, cameras flashed like lightning, and social media melted into digital hysteria. Within minutes, hashtags were trending worldwide. Hashtag Val Evolution, hashtag Genderbend Genius, hashtag Science WAIFU. The live stream had broken every viewing record in history. Backstage, assistants tried to calm her down, but she, without any room for debate, was too busy trying to process the fact that her own experiment had just rewritten her chromosomes like a bad fanfiction plot. "Okay," she muttered, pacing in front of a mirror, her new reflection staring back at her with ridiculous cheekbones and dangerously symmetrical features. "This is fine, totally fine. Just a temporary, unexpected outcome." Her voice was soft, smooth, infuriatingly pleasant. "This is not fine." Her assistant Nathan peeked around the door. Doctor, you look incredible." She glared at him. "I look like an anime protagonist who fell into a vat of estrogen." "Still incredible," he said before wisely retreating. The scientific community went berserk. Half the world called it a miracle, the other half called it heresy. Conspiracy theorists declared that Adrian Vale had been kidnapped and replaced by a clone. Memes flooded every platform. One showed before Vale and after Vale, with the caption, "Be the change Eugene Edith." Another simply read, "She invented gender. It was chaos wrapped in science fiction." The institute demanded explanations. Investors wanted refunds. Rival scientists wanted her formula. She wanted a nap. Days passed, and every news outlet replayed the footage like it was the moon landing. Her attempts to issue a formal scientific statement failed spectacularly. Half the world was too busy thirsting over her. Even her serious announcement, "This proves the serum works perfectly," was met with comments like, "Queen, drop the skincare routine." Eventually, she stopped fighting the absurdity. The data was undeniable. The serum hadn't malfunctioned. It had worked exactly as designed, reacting to emotional and hormonal cues to rewrite DNA on command. The problem was her command had been subconscious, triggered by adrenaline and pride. In simpler terms, she'd been too hyped about her own genius, and the serum had decided to make it personal. So she decided to own it. When the second press conference came around, she stepped on stage in a perfectly fitted new lab coat, hair neatly tied back, looking like the poster girl for scientific progress. The crowd went silent, half from awe, half from disbelief that she'd actually come back. She smiled slightly and adjusted the microphone. "Good afternoon," she began, her tone calm, confident, and just a bit smug. "As you can see, the technology works." Laughter rippled through the audience. "Our research has confirmed full chromosomal reconfiguration with zero cellular rejection. Permanent, stable, and," she paused, glancing at the cameras, "quite thorough." She'd gone viral once by accident. This time she was doing it on purpose. Overnight, Adriana Vale became a global sensation. Universities wanted her as a guest lecturer. Biotech firms offered her blank checks. Someone even pitched a TV drama based on her life called Beautiful Science. She turned them all down well, except the lecture invitations. If she was going to be the face of humanity's next evolutionary step, she might as well do it in style. Of course, fame came with weird side effects. She couldn't go anywhere without being recognized. Students started cosplaying her at conventions. A fan club appeared, calling themselves the Valvolutionaries. There were rumors of a figurine in production before she even knew who was making it. But through it all, she kept her focus on refining Project Eve, determined to make it something bigger than her own transformation. She managed to turn a global meme into a legitimate scientific movement. The Genetist serum went on to cure genetic diseases, enable safe gender transitions, and repair DNA damage once thought permanent. Her accidental transformation became the foundation of a new medical era. Years later, when reporters asked if she regretted it, she'd always smile and give the same answer. Accidents are just discoveries that didn't follow the plan. It wasn't easy being both a legend and a walking reminder of the most public scientific blunder in history, but she handled it with the kind of composure that only someone who survived turning into their own experiment could muster. The photo of that fateful day became iconic. A still frame of shock, glittering light, and one confused scientist mid-transformation. It hung in labs and classrooms around the world as a symbol of both human error and genius. Some claimed it inspired them to pursue genetics. Others admitted they were just fans of the science goddess. Either way, history remembered her not as the man who discovered DNA reconfiguration, but as the woman who proved it worked in the most unforgettable way imaginable. Somewhere, a meme still circulates showing her mid-transformation with the caption, "When you try to flex on science and science flexes back."